So welcome everyone to SAT Alimira's webinar, Teaching and Learning to Code Today and Tomorrow. Laurent, I will hand over to you now. You're muted. Perfect.
All right, sorry about this. Bojana, thank you very much. And good morning and good afternoon to everyone. And thank you very much for joining us today. I'm excited to spend the next 45 minutes with you as we put together several presentations and demo that I think will give you some insights about how SIT Alimira helps education institutions like yours with active learning and better teaching. Together with my two colleagues, Bojana and Alicia, we're going to spend, as I said, the next 45 minutes to walk you through this. My name is Laurent Dedenis, and I'm the CEO of SIT Alimira. Thank you. Let's start. Well, let me start by sharing with you what an interesting time we live in, right? I mean, education is in a time of transition, accelerated, global, and quite complex. Higher skill proficiency is linked to economic progress. And last year has exposed many inequalities with respect to access to tertiary education or education in general, as well as employment opportunities. In fact, education requires investment, as countries with higher skills proficiency see greater GDP return. And in reality, it's all about digital transformation and how technology today can help digital transformation to transform education. We view digital transformation in education in 4 pillars: experience, trust, augmentation, and transformation. Experience is about the growing importance of the focus on students, but also all users accessing technology and platform. The experience needs to be smarter, more individualized, and more fun. Trust is about the strengths, the reliability and veracity of data management in education, and the use of data to improve the education process. Augmentation is about existing tools and making the education journey more real, truly interactive. Finally, transformation is about deep and innovative changes on how institutions like yours operate. So as you think of digital transformation, think about technology. And if you spend time looking at and reading research from analyst firms like Forrester, Gartner, or IDC, or more specifically, education-focused organization, you'll see a long list of technology impacting education today and feeling, I'm sorry, and falling in one of those 4 pillars that I just mentioned. It goes anywhere from machine intelligence to new display, nudge technology, visualization, virtual reality, and collaborative collaboration technologies. Let me take one example that everyone is talking about: artificial intelligence. How can machine intelligence and artificial intelligence helps education in general? Well, you can actually improve natural language processing. You can create chatbots interacting with your students that are smarter. You can personalize case study. You can actually provide early warning analysis. You can save the time of faculty with automatic attendance, automatic grading, and adaptive assessment that will help them to do a better job. Do more with adaptive learning and virtual reality simulation is also an interesting aspect of how MI can actually help overall education. Now, the studies of 200 million students in higher education has been highly disrupted by COVID-19 in the past, in the past 18 months. SIT Alimira is building a platform addressing some of the key challenges that emerged in the past 18 months. And what I'm going to do now is try to explain to you how we build this platform before we go into the detail of some of its components. Alimira is a digital education ecosystem. It's offering an integrated platform for learning, education, and science management for businesses and higher education. Our goal is educating people online faster and more efficiently. What we plan to do is intelligently simplify, automate, optimize all education research and learning processes for the benefits of the students, for the benefits of the faculty, for the benefits of education as a whole. Now let me move on. Next slide, please. Alimira, SIT Alimira is organized around 3 key components: learning management, education management, and science management. And today, we're going to spend time focusing on the learning management part and a specific portion of this which we call Practicum. The learning management platform, part of the platform, helps students to learn better and professors to teach better, utilizing learning by doing and active learning in general. The education management component is more focused on the back office and the processes operation of research, labs, and universities as a whole. Finally, science management is about managing science and research, events, conference, and improve overall researcher and student collaboration. You can see here on this slide some of the worldwide leaders like Acronis, Virtuoso, or the Learning Lab already using our technology today. Now that's kind of a more complete view of Alimira today. SIT Alimira enables engaging dynamic content for students and faculty through integrated technology, as I mentioned, including personalized online tutoring tools, comprehension and retention resources, better collaboration platform, and adaptive learning experience designed to advance the overall online and hybrid solution. And as highlighted on this slide, today we're going to focus on Practicum. Now, how do organizations teach to code online today? And how will they actually be doing it tomorrow? Well, the goal of the following presentation that will actually be covered by Bojana is actually to explain how SIT Alimira takes the challenge of cost and time required to move online and to move in some hybrid level of education, as well as improve completely or change completely the level of engagement you've got with the student. Well, thank you for your attention for this first part of the presentation, and let me hand it over now to Bojana so that we can actually cover the bulk of the Practicum introduction. Thank you.
Thank you, Laurent. So welcome once again from my side. Thank you for joining our webinar. So as Laurent mentioned, my presentation today will be explanation of how organizations do teaching to code. So we can move forward. Yes, so okay, that's the one slide. So basically, there is no reason why education should be confined to the passive learning model with the current state of technology. So we have personalization, has tutoring, interactivity, and learning by doing should be readily available. So basically, some schools manage to transition and perform digital transformation, but most of them are not. So sometime before, you could find a lot of inefficient teaching models. Some of them were only via Zoom, for example, without any interactive tool, or with LMS, but without any practical exercises. Usually just a question, some quiz, and that's it. And this is where we are coming to what Alimira challenge is. So our challenge is how we can online teach you to code and follow all these programming courses that will most likely evolve in the coming years based on trends and market research. So learning and teaching how to code is not new. We have so many tools, which are legacy tools, lectures, broadcasting, applications, collaboration tools, tools that provide students with access to static LMS, etc. But today we found a solution that is more engaging, more interactive, and provide better learning experience. And this is SIT Alimira. So Alimira delivers active learning to transform passive information consumption into high engagement knowledge. And it helps 2 groups. So we have one group, this is teacher or instructors, and then we have another group, students. But now the question is how exactly we are doing that. So let's move to that slide. So this is Alimira Practicum. So we are changing this by providing online interactive tools where students can write a code and test themselves automatically without grading, but without the need to set up software to create environment or configure it. So basically more of this, we provide the ability for students to communicate on chat. So this is a full collaborative tool. So I would like to introduce you with SIT Alimira Practicum. I will now present you just several differentiators, and I think maybe it's a good time to tell you that feel free to write this here on the Q&A feature, or to write later. You will see the email where you can request a full demo, and we will be happy really to show you more about this. So let's go back to what Alimira Practicum is providing. So I will go through these few bullet points and try to explain you everything. So learning by doing. You will actually learn how to write a code, not just to listen. We want to emphasize the process whereby people make sense of their experiences, especially those experiences in which they are actively engaged in making things. Then we have online coding environment, basically a development environment enabling you to code, learn, build, and collaborate everywhere. Collaborative, as I already mentioned, so this environment is collaborative for everyone. Both students and instructor can edit the code in a single workspace. Maybe a good example for this is, for example, Google Doc. So basically, you are able to edit like simultaneously from the instructor side and, of course, from the student side. Then we have course authoring in Markdown. So we all know that Markdown is a markup language for creating formatted text using a plain text editor. So we use this text language to create a course, and this is actually much easier for user, as you can write rich format content extremely quickly, compared to, of course, writing directly in HTML text. So this provides semantic meaning for content in a relatively simple way. Then we have a lot of exercises, but as well projects. So our solution has not only exercises, you're able to navigate between them in a single workspace. I will show you later on the demo, and of course you will see on the screenshot. Then individual or group assignments. So as you already know, we have a set of materials which group of students have to complete. They can do it together or they can do it individually. Then instructor and peer review. So instructor can do the review of each exercise, or we offer the option where peer can do the review. So this means that each student can say, comment, advise, or solve some problem of another student. So basically for the instructor, this is really time saving, and the instructor then can prioritize tasks and make it more efficiently. Then we have a chat option. So here for discussion or self-help. And then the last but very important is the fact that this solution can be expanded not only for coding, but for physics, math, or other STEAM disciplines. So let's go to the next slide. So here I would like in the next few minutes just to highlight only 4 specific differentiators, as we will not have time for more, but as I already mentioned, feel free to contact us and we will be able to show you a complete demo of this. So first is coding exercise integrated into LMS. So basically, as you already know, most LMS provide only static environment. That can be static materials like instructions, learning material, what is function, etc. But static learning content, how to code, is not enough to get the practice. So what we're trying to do here is to maximize meaningful student-teacher interaction. But how do you favor interaction? In remote settings. So first you provide basic materials via LMS. Then you integrate active and practice exercise. Alimira LMS has integrated already code learning solution, which is Practicum. So basically you don't have to use 2 softwares because Alimira can provide both static and practical content. And best of all grades that you're doing in the practical exercises and students are getting them will be automatically visible for you. But we will be able, of course, to share this with you later. In case you have any questions, just a quick note that you can use our Q&A feature, and please just write them there, and we will have 15 minutes for live Q&A. So let's continue to the next slide. So instructor involvement directly in online bootcamps. So this is something that was clearly missing from having 10 students on one Zoom. Basically, teacher is trying to understand and have a complete overview what each student is doing, etc. So there is a bias that online bootcamps are not that efficient as offline bootcamps, of course, because there is a gap between students and instructors. But our solution has no such a wall. Basically, you're able to interact with your instructor in every step, in the chat, manual assessment, video calls, and much more. So you can request a help, invite your instructor in your coding environment, and edit your code in parallel within the same environment. As I already mentioned, a good example for this is Google Document. Instructor can do manual assessment and of course, automatic. So with Alimira Practicum, we are providing more personalized instructor involvement within the online bootcamp of each student. And actually it works. So let's go to the next slide. So instructor time is a limited resource. Yes, this is very critical because the challenge of most schools is how you can get a teacher who is as useful for X number of students, and he would be in a classroom where he can freely move around, interact with students. But imagine that students need to request help from instructor or to explain their problems to fellow students. How to solve this? So yes, you can do it in two ways. You can do it together with your peers or to instructor. So basically, the idea is that everyone has everyone else. Our system automatically matches who is online, who already performed this given exercise. So basically, they should know the answer already. And then you can send a request to the chat with a clear overview and quick link to the request and requester's workspace. So what does this mean for the instructor? Prioritization and time saving. Let's go to the next one. So exercise authoring that are not developer friendly. So the problem here is that authoring content in LMS is quite different from modern authoring practices of pro developers. And basically instructors may need to copy paste code between their online environment and local machine to run and to debug tests. We provide better ability to author the content within the LMS, so you can provide a better experience. But again, the question here is how we are doing that. So in our solution, we completely revise how to create a course. So we have a code-centric authoring experience that's as close as possible to industry practices. It's not a text, it's a code. So we implemented the solution where you can write your instruction as a code. You don't need to use multiple solutions to write code, text, tests, etc. You should only use actually the one. So as we can see on this screenshot, you can write instruction in one file, then write a code in the second file, then you can write how to test in the search file, and this is what is the best value. You don't need another tool. Another thing, we use Git, so that means that any instructor can take advantage of the tools that are familiar to them to test this code, to compile it, and basically to synchronize everything. So as part of this presentation, I introduced Alimira Practicum. I tried to explain you by words how this can work and what is and why it's different. But now I would like to introduce you to my colleague Alicia, who will show you a live demo. So we will go now through that.
Hi everyone. Today I will show you a demo of Alimira Practicum. During the demo, I'll switch between user interfaces of different users. Let's start with an instructor user interface. Here you can see the screen, where the instructor can create new courses using markdowns. The instructor then has the option to either create the course from scratch, or alternatively, they can download an existing course from the Git repository. Once the course is created, the instructor can manage cohorts, groups of students who pass the specific course. So here, as you can see, we have 5 cohorts. 3 of them are in progress and 2 are upcoming. Let's create a new cohort. Here you can insert general information and students to the cohort. Then set different communication settings, grading setting, and so on. You can see that new upcoming cohort appeared at the bottom of the screen. When a new cohort starts, Alimira Practicum automatically creates a set of channels for the students in this cohort. It immediately includes them in these channels. It also automatically sends a welcome message from the instructor into the chat. Here you can see a message from the instructor in the random channel, as well as replies from students. Now let's switch to a student view. As the student, I can now see a list of available courses. I can read the information about the course, see authors, and even start the course. On the next screen, we can see the first unit of the course. It provides some basic information about Python and can read the theoretical part. And at the end, I can go straight to the exercise. This is an example of a simple exercise which will guide me through the exercise, one step at a time. Each step explains what I should do. Here, I can read the first step and the code and run an automated test. I see that they pass, and I can continue to read the instructions for the second step. It too passes. I go to the final step. I write more code, and again, this exercise is complete. And now I can continue to the next unit in the course. The second unit is more complex. I can again read the theoretical part, and at the end, I can see another exercise. This exercise is more complex task. As such, it does not guide me step by step through what I should do. Instead, it has some generic description of what's expected from me, from which I can then write the code. So, I proceed by writing the code, and I run my tests. You can see that part of the test passes successfully, but that 3 tests failed. Let's assume that I don't understand why they failed, so that we can look at what we should do in order to fix it. In this case, I can request for help. And here we have 2 options. I can either request help from the instructor or from other students who have already completed the exercise. Let's first try to request help from the instructor. I'm requesting help, explaining my problem by submitting a comment. The instructor sees my request. They ask for permission to start a video chat. I can accept it, and we can quickly chat live. The instructor gets access to my environments, and he can see it, explain how to fix it, and send me a message telling me what was wrong. Let's now take a look to see how this looks from the instructor point of view. I have my dashboard where I can see the student's progress. Here, there is a section with a list of help requests and chats. As an example, I can see a request from John Doe. I can review his request, which enables me to see his code and comment, and I can also see that the student is online. This allows me to request the video chat with the student so I can talk with them directly. I can explain what's wrong, comment on their request, and submit a reply to their comment. Now, let's go back to our John Doe and interface to a point where he has the original code with some failed tests. He doesn't understand how to fix it, and again, requests for help. This time, he decides to request help from other students. He posts a comment with a tag, Student Help Request. We can see that 2 students join the workspace, and it appears that Stacy knows what is wrong, and she's willing to help. So she then asks for permission to edit the code. I allow her to make the changes. Stacy enters, fixes my code, and sends me a message explaining what I did wrong. Now, let's see how it looks like from Stacy's point of view. She has the chat, and then in this chat, a new message appears from John Doe. Stacy sees the message with John's comment along with automatically attached error description from his exercise. She wants to help John, so she enters John's workspace. Here, she can request editing rights. John then grants her permission. She fixes the code and sends a message explaining the root cause of the problem. Other students can see the reply and vote for it. Now, let's go back to the instructor view. The instructor can see that John Doe's issue is solved and then sees a mention of him in a comment from another student who requested help from that fellow student. He also sees that there is a reply from Jackie. Jackie explains how to fix this problem, and the instructor can read her reply, and if this reply is correct, can mark it as accepted. After that, this request disappears from the instructor's list. Now, as the instructor, I only have the request from Sergey left in my list. It has a red bar mark indicating that the student is offline, so I decide not to help him immediately and go to the next. I access the To Assess section of my dashboard. Students can complete the exercise and check them with automated tests, but there is also an option to manually review exercises that passed all automated checks by the instructor. So here in this list, the instructor sees a submission for the check from Alice Cooper and can then review her code. The instructor then reviews it and finds that there are some issues with the code. They make the lines and submit comments explaining what should be corrected. Now there are 2 options. The instructor can either accept the exercise providing feedback or send it back for reworks. Now let's switch to Alice's interface. In her interface, she sees a message from the instructor that has been reviewed her exercise and that some rework is needed. She clicks on the notification. She opens her exercise with comments from the instructor. She fixes the code, leaves a comment to the instructor, and then submits the exercise once more for review. The instructor can then once more see the submission of the student from their interface, and this time it is labeled with the reworked mark. The instructor can scroll down their interface, navigating to the third section, which shows the list of active cohorts. He can open the course and see the progress of each student. From here, the instructor can click on a student, contacting students individually, for example, to contact and encourage students lagging behind. So that's it from my side. Thank you for watching the demo.
Thank you, Alicia. So now that we saw the live video, I would like once again to emphasize the most important components of Alimira Practicum. So online education is not something unique. It is already here. Let's use it. So our practicum is integrated into LMS. Then authoring experience is good for developers. We have a chat. We are using it behind the code, so it is easy to use familiar developer tools. Then there is a peer-to-peer review of exercises, so instructor can save his time and prioritize tasks. Then collaboration. So both student and instructor can edit the code in a single workspace. Manual assessment is possible, so instructor sees the exercises needs to access. There is no need in local dev tools for student to start code, so zero setup. And there is auto grading based on auto tests. So no instructor efforts need to assess. So thank you so much for this. Now I would like to actually invite our Senior Product Director at SCT Alimira, Victor Batrev, who will join us for the Q&A live session together with Laurent. So we already got a few questions. Welcome, Victor. So right now I would like to ask first Laurent, I see that we got a question. So what has been really changed in the past year in online teaching to code?
Thank you, Bojana, for this question. So I think in general, we've seen three things, right? We've seen, number one, a genuine intention by institution to make changes so that they can adapt to the new reality of online and hybrid education. Everyone realized early that technology could help in this process. The second thing we've seen, it was a focus on making sure that you could basically keep some level of scalability in the interactivity you're building with the professor and the teachers together with the student, right? I mean, as you have 20 or 30 students in front of you in a classroom, or as you actually, see them in a particular settings, it's extremely easy to look at people and interfere and interact with different discussion conversation. Obviously online and in some hybrid fashion, it's a lot more complicated. So the comprehensive assistance, the ability to ask teacher, but also to communicate between students is actually one of the developments that we've seen, which we think is very important, saving the time of the teacher. And of course, automating content, automating assessment, automating grading is basically a way for this institution to scale, right? So that they can welcome a larger number of students and still provide a great journey and a great experience from an education standpoint. Finally, the third thing that we've seen is really a push so that everyone would adapt, so that engagement on collaboration, gamification, making it more fun, more exercises that people can actually interact with, has clearly been the third thing that we've seen, which I think is absolutely going into the right direction.
Thank you, Laurent. So Victor, this one is coming for you. So what programming languages do you support?
So currently we support 3 languages, that's Python, JavaScript, and .NET. In the next version, we will extend the list and we'll support also Java, Kotlin, HTML, CSS, AFIL. So, and the list will be expanded over time. So we can support virtually any language.
So it's a work in progress. Great, thank you. So how teachers can grade the students and what is the process? That's the one question that we got right now. Laurent, I guess you can answer.
So I think the the technology enables us to basically start automating certain number of processes that will enable education institution to scale, right? So if you think about the experience of going through the validation of a particular knowledge or a particular concept, or in this case, the learning of a particular coding language, what you want to do is you want to offer scalability at every step, so that when the students start working and interacting with a professor is going to be able to automate a lot of the things that have little value, like automating some basic content creation, for instance, is a really interesting concept. Automating the grading and the assessment of the journey of the resolution of this concept is also extremely interesting, so that the teacher can actually focus on what's needed at a particular time with each of the students.
Thank you. We got one more question. So basically, because sometimes it can be really difficult for new stakeholders like teachers and students to adapt. What is your opinion? How much time is needed for instructor to adapt to the new program?
So I think as you could probably see, the user interface of SIT Alimira, and especially the Practicum, but that's also true within the LMS, within all our products, is extremely easy to use, right? It's extremely friendly. And I think this is also very key in the adoption and the scalability of the platform that we're trying to provide. So I'm sorry, to answer the question, I don't have a number of minutes or hours, but it's basically very easy and very intuitive.
Okay, thank you. So these are questions that I found in Q&A feature. Do we have any more questions? Maybe someone wants to ask something live. Okay. Okay, can we share just again screen for the emails so we are able to see email? As I already mentioned, please feel free to request a demo or any kind of questions if you have on this email. We will, of course, have the recording. We will send you a follow-up. So in any case, if you have something that remain unclear, please just come back to us. Laurent, Victor, thank you so much for the presentations. Alicia, as well to you. And I'm looking forward for the next webinar that will be in a month from now. So please check our social media accounts and everything, and you will be able to see what's coming next. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you very much.